What's up, everybody? It's me, Yemmy the Ferret here, with another episode of YemmyCast, a video game podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Also, I'm planning on changing platforms, so if something changes, I'll let you know. But for right now, we're still using SoundCloud as the host for our RSS feed. I may change it in the future, depending on what I feel like doing. It costs money to distribute the podcast from SoundCloud. It doesn't cost anything from other platforms like Anchor and stuff like that. So we'll be talking about that maybe in the future, but for right now it's still on those platforms and it's still going strong. Thank you for showing up to this episode of YemmyCast, a video game podcast. We're going to talk about a whole plethora of things. PS5 details, Fortnite, Untitled Goose game. Everything under the sun this week has come out. I apologize, I did not put up a episode on Sunday. I just, I didn't feel it. I didn't have anything I wanted to talk about. And that may start happening more in the future because I have another podcast. That's right, another podcast which is exclusive audio only. It's hosted on Anchor.fm and it's called Fubar Ferret. If you want to check that out, the link will be somewhere in the description below, or you can search for it on Spotify or Anchor. Either place is a good place to listen to it. If you listen to it on Anchor, I actually get paid a small, tiny bit of money. I have 3 cents in the bank right now. Very good. But yeah, that's a podcast where I simply just talk about anything that comes to my brain. The first episode is about tots and burritos. The second episode is about, I talk about a bunch of things, including Five Nights at Freddy's. And then the third episode, which will be out Thursday, is going to be talking about thumbnails for YouTube and other things as well. I pretty much record those whenever I have a chance, whenever I think of an idea, and that's all she wrote. So if you want to, you can check out Fubar Ferret, which is available now on Anchor.fm and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's right, I did add it to Apple Podcasts. I think it got accepted, so we're everywhere now. So if you want to, please check that out. If you do enjoy this kind of content, me just talking, but not about video games, that's the place for you. I'll probably talk about video games still, but it's not going to be in the same vein as this, because we're talking about video game news on this here podcast right now. That's right, we got our Retro Fellow merch on, and we're ready to dig into this biggie ball stain of a week for news. That's right, we have a lot of weird, strange news stories this week. Lots of just, I don't know, it's been a weird week. Today, which is Tuesday, the 8th of October, a bunch of stuff came out for the PS5, so I'll be talking about that in a few minutes. But first off, I want to talk about how Fortnite ruined our child's life, which is being claimed by a family in Canada. So a lawsuit is being filed in Canada, which is going to go up against Epic Games and their title, of course, Fortnite. Fortnite is definitely one of the most popular games right now. If you play it on YouTube, if you play it on Twitch, if you play it on Mixer, you're bound to get a good amount of people finding the channel because people are searching for Fortnite stuff, whether it's YouTube videos or live streams or anything under the sun. Fortnite is the game to beat this time around. Now, me personally, not a huge fan of Fortnite, not really a huge fan of Battle Royales. I played a little bit of Apex Legends here or there, and I ended up uninstalling it after a while because it was just, I don't know, I liked Titanfall too much, and Apex Legends kind of ruined it for me. Fortnite, I've messed around with a few times. There's a few game modes in there that I can, like prop hunt and stuff like that they have exclusive time limits on, but the main game, I'm not a fan of that. And then, of course, PUBG, I never really played. I just watched people play it, and, people had fun with it. But once again, it's not really my style. I like games where you can respawn, get back into the action right away, instead of games like this where you die, and then you have to wait 5 minutes to get into another game. And then even after that, you might die right away anyways again. And then Blackout mode was a tip of the iceberg. I played so much of that, just trying to like it, and it just didn't work out. It didn't work out in the end. I got pretty pissed off with that, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take the problem and take it away, folks, take it away. So let's get back to the news article at hand. So this lawsuit that's being prepared, it's a class action lawsuit in Canada, and it's claiming that the rise of Fortnite has been brought by nefarious means I don't have a gasp. I don't have a gasp effect. Damn. Well, just imagine there's a bunch of people going, oh! So nefarious means, what does this mean? Well, according to Alessandra Esposito Chartrand, who is an attorney with Calyx Legal, Epic Games spent many years in quotation marks working with psychologists to find out how to make this Battle Royale game as addictive as possible so that players would become hopelessly hooked. In a quote, she says, Epic Games, when they created Fortnite, for years and years hired psychologists. They really dug into the human brain, and they really made the effort to make it as addictive as possible. They knowingly put on the market a very, very addictive game, which was also geared towards youth. In our case, the two parents that came forward and told us, if we knew it was so addictive that it would ruin our child's life, we would never have let him start playing Fortnite, or we would have monitored it a lot more closely. This case, which is focused on the parents of two minors who are aged 10 and 15, is being likened to the 2015 class action lawsuit against tobacco companies, in which the Quebec Superior Court ruled that tobacco companies did not do enough to warn people about the dangers of smoking. It also cites the recent classification of gaming addiction as a disorder by the World Health Organization. In order to play Fortnite, users are asked to give up any right to sue Epic Games and must instead go through individual arbitration. But Chartrand argues that these terms of service are null and void because the province's Consumer Protection Act requires companies to clearly disclose risks associated with products or services. Now, I know this might sound like a little bit of hoopla, and they don't really have anything specific here to back up these claims, so my only guess is that they've been working on the case for a while, and they found some things possibly within the workings of Fortnite or something like that, but right now it's kind of hard to believe that any of this is true because they haven't proven anything yet. And I'm sure once this actually gets filed and this goes to Canadian court, I think that we'll hear more information about it. But right now, it just seems like a couple of parents who, let their kid play Fortnite, on their console, on the PC, on the phone, 24/7, just have noticed that their parenting methods weren't working, and they've decided to go to court against Epic Games, blaming Epic Games about the situation. Now, that's just my opinion. That's what I think happened. But we shall see in the future, because if this does come out that Fortnite used nefarious means to suck people in to their game, how many other companies might be doing this too? It can open up a little bit of a can of worms. Now, I don't believe that Epic Games went to psychologists and was like, how do we make this as addicting as possible? Okay, well, colorful items, player versus player action, loot crates, and Battle Royale. But remember, Fortnite started as a tower defense game. You built up your base, and you defended against these monsters that were attacking. So we can't forget that that's where the game actually started. They didn't add the Battle Royale mode until after the release, or the disc early release of the game. And that's when people started catching on to it. So how can you claim that the game, that they hired these psychologists to put out the most addictive game ever, when the base form of the game was crappy? They were selling all these different versions of Fortnite on disc very early on that just, they were astronomical, these prices they were trying to sell it for, and it wasn't even a complete game. And then, people hear, they added this PvP mode that's exploding. It's kind of like PUBG, except cartoony and blah, 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 blah. You can build things, whatever. And that's when people started to catch on. And maybe that's when they started implementing these ideas, these psychological things. But it's really hard to say, because you can equate this video game addiction to really any game. I mean, look at Minecraft. You're telling me that game's not trying to addict kids? I mean, it's very basic. You're building things. You can stay for hours in Minecraft building things and having fun. Same thing can happen in Fortnite. You spend hours of your day playing Fortnite, whether it's on the phone app or console or what have you. It's it's a little bit of a weird place to go to for a lawsuit, especially just to specifically target Fortnite because it's the biggest game right now selling on the market. If this was a Call of Duty mobile or Call of Duty type game, I'm sure that the headlines would be a little bit different. But since it's Fortnite and there's a lot of Fortnite hate, there's also a lot of Fortnite love. These things are going to clash, and we'll see what the Canadians decide to do, the homeland of our resident friend Chronoside. We'll see what the Canadians decide to rule. I'm guessing that they're going to need a lot of proof in this case, because right now, like I said, there's really nothing to stand on for this case. They haven't really said anything in specific about it, just that two kids their lives were ruined by Fortnite. Because it was so addictive. Here's the thing that I like to tell parents, and I'm not a parent myself, so take this with a grain of salt, but you need to monitor your kids' video game habits. If you're letting your kid play video games for 7 hours a day when they get home, they don't do their homework, they skip school just to play video games, that's a problem. And you can snuff that in the butt very early on. My parents were pretty good with this. They gave me, I believe I played for about half-hour increments, and after that the timer would go off. I'd have to go do something else, take a break, and then I could come back later that day. I had a set amount of time each day that I could play. I had a 3 hours I could play. And if I decided to play them all in a row, well, the rest of the day I really had nothing else to do, besides from other things you do as a kid. As I grew older, of course, I could play a little bit more. Obviously, once the GameCube came around, I was playing a lot more. I was playing probably about 3 hours a day, and it didn't matter. I would play for more, I'd play for less. And then once the Xbox and the Wii and the PlayStation 3 came around, those rules kind of got thrown out the window. But I was old enough to make decisions by then, and I knew my parents' teachings, and I said, what, I don't want to be playing this for more than 10 hours a day, so I should probably, take a break every so often. And I do that a lot. I still do that. While I'm playing a game, I could probably play Borderlands 3 for, 3 hours straight. But, I don't like to do that because I feel like I'm playing too much of the game, and I should go and try and do something else. Maybe watch a little bit of YouTube, maybe edit a few videos, maybe do something else, maybe play with the dog, stuff like that. So I think you can nip this in the butt very early on if you just teach your kids moderation. Don't play these games for 8 hours straight because, yes, they can become an addiction. And, I think anybody who's played a video game kind of feels that addiction, whether it's Red Dead Redemption, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Shrek the Third, the video game, you can feel that like addiction to like, oh, I want to go back and play that. I remember the day after Borderlands 3 released, I played it for so long, and then the next day I was waking up and going, I really want to play Borderlands, but I gotta go to sleep. I had that thought of I need to go play Borderlands right now. Same thing happens, can happen, I should say, while I'm at work. Maybe I'll have played, a bunch of a game the last night, and I'll be like, oh, I really want to know what happens next. I just want to go home and play. And usually when I get home and play after work, it's only about an hour or two, and then, I eat and I do other things, and that's the kind of thing that happens. So that's my message to parents right now. Moderation is a good thing, especially with video games. And I know that's coming from someone like me who plays a lot of hours a week, and I know there's a lot of people who play more hours in a week. I mean, there's memes of that one parent who was like, my child plays 4 hours of video games a day, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm playing about 24 hours. But we'll see what happens with this. I mean, the case could possibly be just thrown out. This isn't like, well, I guess they're kind of likening it to that tobacco case where, they need to put disclaimers in video games that they're addictive. I don't know about that. I don't totally agree with that, but I think the parents need to be more knowledgeable and they need to be more active in their kids' lives. You can't just throw a tablet at a kid and say, here, play this, and then forget about it. And now, little Jimmy's been playing Fortnite for 5 hours straight, and he's calling you a stupid noob before he goes to bed. I was just at a restaurant the other day, And yeah, I'll take out my phone sometimes and look at it while we're waiting for food, if we can't think of anything to talk about. And there were these two kids at a table, probably diagonal to us, and there were two, I believe they were the parents. They were just kind of chatting together. And the kids had on these noise canceling headphones, and they were attached to these iPad type things. And literally, I shit you not, for the whole time we were waiting for our food, which was about 20 minutes, they were just like this. Just looking at their phones that whole time. Just couldn't be bothered to look anywhere else, not interested in anything else. And I was like, dang, if I was doing that when I was that age and my parents saw that, I would be in trouble. They would force me to put that away, but instead, they just let them do that. And it's like, that's what's hurting your kids. Not the fact that they're playing video games or like Fortnite. It's the fact that you're letting them play these games for such long times, and it's causing an addiction to come out. Games like Fortnite are, geared, I mean, they're not specifically geared towards kids. I believe Fortnite is a T-rated game, but it is a lot more cartoony and stuff like that, so there is that childlike appeal to it. And when you throw in like loot crates and stuff like that, it can develop something in a kid very early on. But yeah, you add all these things in there and the game starts to become more of an adult game as you go on, but the parents don't know that. They just see their kid playing Fortnite and having fun and doing their little Fortnite dances, and they're like, okay, they're happy, whatever. So, what do you guys think about this? Obviously, this is a big subject, and obviously this isn't like a small type thing. This could have rippling effects across the world in terms of video games, but we'll see what the Canadian court rules, and then maybe something like this might pop up in the UK or in America or China, Japan, stuff like that. Maybe cases will start popping up, but I think that this case could possibly be thrown out if they don't have enough evidence and these claims aren't proven, but we'll see, of course, and I'm sure that I will obviously report on that when the time comes for those things to be revealed. Okay, moving right along. Yes, that's right, the PlayStation 5 has been revealed. Not revealed as in they've shown the console, but revealed for a holiday 2020 release date. There was a huge interview with Jim Ryan, who is Sony's computer entertainment CEO, and he's confirmed that the release date will be holiday 2020. So just in time for Christmas, and probably, I'm going to guess it's going to come out before Christmas. It's probably going to come out around, a month before Black Friday, and once Black Friday comes around, that's when they'll do a little bit of sale, they'll do a little bit of bundle action there, and then they'll sell tons of them for the holiday season. They will be flying off the shelves. It'll be just like the NES Classic or the SNES Classic. They'll fly off the shelves. People will fight over them. There'll be a little bit of sparring. Someone's dick will slip into someone else's butt on accident, and they'll be like, "Whoa!" And that'll be the big story of the PS5 Black Friday release. So yeah, Jim Ryan did a huge interview with a news organization. I don't remember who it is yet. I'll probably say it later. And he talked about tons of things about the PS5. And one of the biggest things was, hey, we're releasing it next year, 2020 holiday season. There's no full release details yet, like date, time, etc., where it's going to be sold and all that stuff. I'm sure it'll be the biggest chains like Best Buy and GameStop and EB Games if you're European. But yeah, Sony is still... It's unclear whether Sony is planning a big reveal for the PS5, like an event or something like that. If there is one, it will probably be at that PlayStation Expo that they have every year. Obviously, it wasn't at E3 like everyone would have wanted, and I'm surprised that they didn't say anything during the State of Play about this either, because this is a big deal. This is Sony's next console. The PS4 has been such a great console. I'm surprised that they didn't even try to make a big reveal for it. Just some guy talking about it, and then a slight Twitter post. Good work. But more details have come around. The PS5 is going to have 4K Blu-ray disc... Oh, excuse me. The PS5 will have a 4K Blu-ray disc drive. In an interview... The interview was with Wired. So the CEO came out and said... that physical games for the PS5 will use 100 gigabytes optical discs inserted into an optical drive that doubles as a 4K Blu-ray player. In other words, the standard PS5 discs are going to be pretty beefy, and the next-gen machine will have the drive to support them. Plus, you can watch 4K movies right on your PS5, which can be pretty handy if you're into that stuff. This is good news that they're still invested into discs. Freudian slip. This is good news, though, because a lot of games are like, look at Red Dead 2. That game's like getting close to 200 gigabytes on your console. I had to delete mine to make room for other things, and these games are getting so big and they're using less and less disk space. I'm hoping this means that they're going to actually be putting more information on the discs rather than having to download 15,000 gigabytes of data when you first start up a game. And look at Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Jesus Christ. 15 gigabyte update, which is now, of course, more. Day one. That hurts. That hurts your eyes. You know, the game installs and it's like, oh, it's only 6 gigabytes. And then it's like, oh, nope, it's 24 now. Yeah, whatever. Hopefully we'll see less of that in the future. Also, the PS5 controller, which is called DualShock 5, has some new interesting additions to it. So the next generation controller is going to offer adaptive triggers, which means the tension of the L2 and R2 buttons can change depending on what action you're taking in game. So if you're going to be pulling back the bowstring, which it'll offer more resistance than if you're shooting a gun in the game, which is a quick trigger action. It also sounds like it's going to be packing some serious rumble in it. So it's going to boast haptic feedback far more capable than the rumble motor console gamers are used to, with highly programmable voice coil actuators located in the left and right grips of the controller. According to the publication, driving across a different terrain in the PS5 port of Gran Turismo Sport can be felt through the controller thanks to the new rumble tech. Driving on the border between the track and the dirt, I could feel both surfaces. Doing the same thing on the track using the DualShock 4 on a PS4, that sensation disappeared entirely. Apparently, this stuff has been in development at Sony for quite a while, and at one point they thought of putting the controller with the PS4 Pro, but they didn't want to split the user base between the two controllers. So we'll see what else the DualShock controller can do in the future. There's already a lot of things going on inside the PS4 controller, so it's interesting to see even more stuff added to it. I'm wondering if the rumble capability is... because of the HD rumble in the Switch, they thought of adding that. I would think so, but we'll see how the controller feels in the hands of a user playing something else that's not a racing game, because that seems to be the go-to thing for a lot of these tech demos, but whatever. Also, the PS5 is going to let you choose what part of the game you want to install first. Now, I know that they've implemented this on the PS4 a small bit with a few games. When I went to go reinstall Titanfall 2, it asked me if I wanted the single player or the multiplayer experience first, and of course, I picked the multiplayer because I've already platinumed the game. And I've seen that on a few other games as well. But now, speaking with Mark Cherney, as I already said, rather than treating games like a big block of data, we're allowing finer-grained access to the data. So to clarify, you'll be able to use the install for the single-player portion of a game first, or opt to jump into multiplayer without downloading the solo portion of the game. Of course, you could leave either installing in the background while you jump into the latest and greatest that the PS5 has to offer. So nothing super new there. Nothing like so groundbreaking that it's making my eyes bug out of my head, because that's something that I've seen in almost every game I've tried to download that has multiplayer and single player so far in the PS4. So nothing totally new there, but it'll probably be faster with the new system. Also, PS5's user interface is going to be much more interactive with live information from games. So the PlayStation 4's web interface is actually pretty good. I thought it was a little bit, lacking originally when I played on the PS4, but once I played the Xbox One, I was like, yep, this is much better. The PS4 was much better. I should clarify. So it sounds like there's going to be significant changes to the menus and interface. Wired reported that Mark Cheney explained, even though it will be fairly fast to boot games, we don't want the player to have to boot the game, see what's up, boot the game, see what's up, Cheney says, commenting on how you'd currently have to refresh yourself on a title's in-game information. On the PS5, things will be different. Multiplayer game servers will provide the console with a set of joinable activities in real time. Single-player games will provide information like what mission you could do and what rewards you might receive for completing them. And all of those choices will be visible in the UI. As a player, you can just jump right in whenever and with whatever you would like. That's pretty cool. I would love to see like where I was last in the game just by looking at the home menu. That would be pretty interesting. Plus multiplayer stuff. Let's say the next Battlefield game, you want to jump right into a server without even having to load the game, go to the menu, search for a server. That'd be pretty sick. I'm liking that. Also, it's been revealed that Ghost of Tsushima is still going to be a PS4 game. Sony has reiterated and reinforced that. So after all the news about PS5, the CEO was asked about Ghost of Tsushima, and he says, while there's much more to share about the PlayStation 5 in the year ahead, we have plenty of blockbuster experiences coming your way on the PS4, including Death Stranding, The Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch is the developer behind Ghost of Tsushima, and we haven't seen anything about it since 2018 at E3. And with Death Stranding and The Last of Us Part 2 taking up the holiday and early 2020 slots on the release calendar, it's hard to believe that Ghost of Tsushima is still going to be a PS4 title exclusively. Of course, you'll still be able to play it with the backwards compatibility, but it's hard to believe that this isn't going to be like a release title for the PS5 because it's going to be releasing pretty late into the PS4's life cycle. I'm saying, like, I guess the life cycle isn't the right word for that because I'm sure companies will still invest time into developing games for the PS4 well into the end of its PlayStation life cycle. The PS5 comes around. But it's hard to believe that they're still going to put this onto the PS4 first. I feel like it should just be a dual release once the console officially releases. But, I guess I'm not a businessman, so, don't listen to anything I say. Anyways, Ghost of Tsushima, we'll see what's up with that. And we'll have to go from there. Alright, so other smaller things about the PlayStation 5. The name of the console, of course, PlayStation 5 was revealed. Everyone knew it was going to be PlayStation 5 anyway, so who cares? It's also going to have super fast game downloads. They're aiming to have super fast game downloads, which means they're going to probably speed up the hardware a little bit. Blue Point Games is apparently working on a big game for the PS5, and Gran Turismo Sport is actually already running on a PS5 dev kit. And rumors about a poor communication between Sony and devs were debunked with an interview at Kotaku. So everything seems to be going good for the PS5 so far, and we'll have more information on it absolutely at the end of this year. Guaranteed. Sony Expo, hopefully, here we go. Alright, so moving right along, the Mario and Luigi RPG developer AlphaDream has filed for bankruptcy. It found itself in 465 million yen in debt. Jeez, that is not good. So, AlphaDream, which is a Japanese game developing studio which has done games like in Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey, and of course other as well, has filed for bankruptcy. And this is coming from Yahoo Japan. It reported that the company's revenue has been disappointing as of late, and development costs effectively put it into the ground and into a crisis. The report notes that as of March 2018, AlphaDream was 465 million yen in debt, which is about 3.5 million pounds and 4.3 million US dollars. The partnership with Nintendo saw AlphaDream release plenty of games across its systems, but it's unclear whether Nintendo is going to help with anything with the studio going forward. Speaking about the recent 3DS release, former senior editor at Game Informer Imran Khan says a source revealed that the game's sales were so poor that it actually had a knock-on effect for Nintendo's plans with the 3DS. Early sales of the game were indeed disappointing. At RanZoMG says, "Yikes, sad to hear about AlphaDream. The Mario and Luigi games were on a decline. A source once mentioned to me that this year's Bowser's Inside Story remake sold so badly that Nintendo axed other 3DS plans due to it." The Mario and Luigi series was pretty good, if I remember correctly. There were a few games that I really enjoyed out of that series, just from an RPG standpoint. If you wanted to play an RPG Mario game, that was the place to go to. But I think the trend of video games has kind of moved on from that in recent years. There's not as many RPG games coming around with turn-based combat, and I think that Nintendo fans just found these games to be coming out too often, and the quality was kind of dipping. And of course, they tried to put out that port of the two games recently, and that just kind of flopped, unfortunately. So, like I said, it's weird that Nintendo doesn't help or try to do anything for AlphaDream since they've had such a long-standing partnership. Nintendo didn't buy them. It was just they had the rights to Mario and Luigi, and they, Nintendo helped them create the games, and they put out the games for them on the systems, and that was it. So it's hard to believe that Nintendo is just like walking away, backing away, like, I don't want to go on that sinking ship. The Titanic's already sunk here, boys. Let's be the people who discover it and then raise it up. Nope, they're not going to do that. They're just going to let it sit down there and decay. So Atari's attempt to relaunch the VCS has just hit another brick wall. It's been a while since we've heard anything about Atari's return to console making, and at one point they were the kings. They had several systems sell very, very well, but it was announced that the $250 Atari box, which is a console that promised a return to the good old days of the VCS 2600, gave Atari's long-suffering and presumably very old fans something to smile about. Then, and a series of horror stories started rolling in, the company having little idea about the tech inside a machine be perhaps the most worrying example. So now in the present, the Atari VCS has missed its proposed launch date of June 2019. A revised release date for the crowdfunded console is March 2020. However, even that date has been thrown into doubt by the announcement that Atari's system architect Rob Wyatt has walked away from the whole project after payments were missed. He spoke to The Register. Wyatt, who had been involved with the system via his consultancy, Tin Giant, he said, "As of Friday, October 4th, I have officially resigned as architect of the Atari VCS. Atari haven't paid invoices going back over 6 months. As a small company, we have been lucky to survive this long. I was hoping to see the project through to the end, and that it wouldn't come to this. But I have little choice other than to pursue other opportunities." So, with him leaving the company, Atari is left without a lead architect. And they've raised over $3 million via crowdfunding, but who knows where that money's going right now? It seems like they're not paying bills. It sounds like this is just going to be dead in the water. The console looked kind of cool, looked very retro. The controller just looked like a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. It also was going to come with a joystick controller as well. I'm sure the games on it would have been a load of classic games and then maybe some newer ones just at system launch. But I don't think this console is going to go anywhere in the future. I don't see it doing well at all. And of course, it's a crowdfunding type thing. Those things hardly ever pan out. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. Alright, so more concerning news. Doom Eternal has been delayed, and the Switch version is the most heavily affected. So Doom Eternal's developer ID Software has announced that the game has been delayed, which is bad for Nintendo fans since the Switch version has been hit the hardest. The developer shared the following statement with fans, revealing that the game has been pushed back to the 20th of March 2020 on other platforms, and after, in quotations, that date on Switch. The delay comes as part of a new effort to deliver the best experience to players. The game was originally supposed to release the 22nd of November in 2019. So this is the post that ID Software put out. Throughout the development of Doom Eternal, our goal has been to deliver a game that exceeds your greatest expectations across the board. To make sure we're delivering the best experience for Doom Eternal to live up to our standards of speed and polish, we've made the decision to extend our launch date by a few months to March 20th, 2020. We know many fans will be disappointed by this delay, but we are confident that Doom Eternal will deliver a gaming experience that is worth the wait. In addition to shifting the Doom Eternal launch date, we've made a couple other changes we wanted you to know about. Invasion Mode, which will allow you to enter another player's game as a playable demon, will release as a free update shortly after launch. Ooh, that's not good news. Doom Eternal for Nintendo Switch will release after the other platforms. We will announce that date in the future. Even worse news. Doom 64 will be available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC in addition to Nintendo Switch. We are adding Doom 64 as a pre-order bonus for Doom Eternal on all platforms, so you'll be able to download and play this classic game for free, just for pre-ordering Doom Eternal. Doom 64 will be released on March 20th, 2020 on all... Jeez, that's... All three of those things are bad. They also ended this saying, "We are grateful to every Doom fan for your dedication and support. We can't wait to rip and tear right alongside you. Sincerely, ID Software." That's a hit in the face. That's like a legitimate like punch in the face. I mean, boy, pushed back the date even farther if you're not going to have a full game mode that you've been showing off at E3 and Bethesda conferences for months now. Invasion mode, which I was really excited for. Play as the monsters. It's not even going to release at launch? This is very concerning news. This is super concerning news. And the fact that the Nintendo Switch date has not been revealed yet, and it was supposed to release alongside the November release, not good. Also, now that Doom 64 was supposed to be a Switch exclusive, and now they're like, just throw it on all platforms. Same day, March 20th. Who's going to play Doom 64 when Doom Eternal is right there in front of you to feast your eyes on? It's nice that they're putting it in for free, but come on. Yeah, this is very concerning news. Now, like I always say, I'm okay with them pushing the game back in order to improve things like with, Animal Crossing, whatever it's called, and stuff like that, but push it back to a date where you can have all the modes in the game. I don't want a free update with Invasion mode. I want Invasion mode be able to be playable day one. That's really disappointing. That's really disappointing to me, and I'm sure a lot of people are finding that disappointing as well. A little bit disappointed about this. Hopefully the game is going to live up to expectations. And yeah, it's good news that they're being open and out front with it, but I don't want to see in that same post, and one mode of the game's not going to be available until there's going to be a free update a month later or whatever. That's not something that they should put in there. They should just push it back those 2 months and then release it with the whole thing. I don't know. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the game is how the game's going to be later than expected. I of course already paid off like half the game, so I was really hoping to get it this year. But I can wait. Of course. There's plenty of other games coming out, and I'm sure that a 2020 release date will help a little bit more with sales, being that November 22nd is just so close to all these other games that are coming out. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Hopefully, Invasion mode will be announced that we've been able to put it with the game itself, but I don't think that that's going to happen. Okay, so moving on to some random news. You can now design your own Pokemon shirts in the U.S. with all 151 original Pokemon included, and it's a little bit pricey. So back in January, a new line of Pokemon shirts was revealed for Japan, featuring all of the original 101 Pokemon, and the designs can be fully mixed and matched to suit your style, and it was confirmed that they were heading to the West as well. The magical day has arrived, everyone. You can now go ahead and build your own shirt now by simply selecting which style of shirt you want to wear, what type of collar and sleeves you're after, and then choose which of the 151 original Pokemon you would like to represent on your shirt, collar, and pocket. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at $107 right now. Whew, boy, that's a lot of money. But the shirts look like they're gonna be high quality. It's not like it's gonna be low quality. Plus, you can customize the collar, the actual shirt, and then the pocket to be all different Pokemon. So it's a lot. It's a lot you can do with it, but it's a little bit pricey. So if you're in the market for some Pokemon shirts that are high quality, this is a good place to start. But buying 2 shirts is going to cost you over $200? Ooh, that's a little pricey for me. Alright, so UK doctors can now refer young patients to be treated for video game addiction, as we already talked about earlier. England's National Health Service, or NHS, is set to open the country's first specialist clinic designed to treat young patients suffering from video game addiction. Doctors can refer patients starting from today, that is, the 8th of October. The services will aim to help children and young adults from 13 to 25 who are who are considered to be suffering from health issues as a result of playing games. Treatment will start next month, with patients being able to attend a physical appointment at a National Center of Behavioral Addictions in London or online via Skype. Dr. Henrietta Bowden-Jones, director of the NHS's new Center for Internet and Gaming Disorder, and the Royal College of Psychiatrists spokeswoman on behavioral addictions, has spoken about the new service with The Guardian. Gaming disorder is a mental health condition which can have a hugely debilitating effect on people's lives, both for patients and their families, who can be left feeling utterly helpless in the wake of their loved one's addiction. Gaming disorder is not a mental illness to be taken lightly. We are talking about instances where someone may spend up to 12 hours a day playing computer games and can end up becoming socially isolated and lose their job as a result. For the sake of balance, video games have also been found to improve both physical and mental health of players too. Fiona Smith, professional lead for children and young people at the Royal College of Nursing, has said that whilst the NHS has a duty of care and is adapting to these modern challenges, it and taxpayers can't foot the bill alone. Online gaming firms and global social media firms who make millions of pounds of profit must take more responsibility by keeping their platforms safe and introduce safeguards to reduce the burden on the health service. So it's already been talked about a lot in the gaming world, where the Xbox has parental controls and stuff like that. The Nintendo systems have always had things pop up saying, hey, why don't you take a break after a few hours of gaming and go outside? Like the Wii was a big one. And then, of course, the PS4 also has stuff in place that you can do, turn on parental controls, stuff like that, to limit people's, playing of video games a day, limit what types of games they play, what rating games they play as well. So, even though I'm not wholeheartedly believing in the video game addiction thing, I mean, it does affect people's lives if they play for 12 hours a day. They don't do anything else. They don't go to work. That does affect your life. And hopefully these people can get the help that they need. Okay, moving on to something a little bit more positive. Play Tonic, who is the developer behind Yooka-Laylee and the new Yooka-Laylee Impossible Lair. They are adding the N64 Tonic to the original Yooka-Laylee game. Now you might be saying to me, Yemmy, they already added this before. That is right. They added the 64 Tonic to Yooka-Laylee already, but it was nothing like the Nintendo 64 version of Banjo-Kazooie. But now they've got their head out of their asses. That's right. Out of their asses. And they have added a new tonic to Yooka-Laylee called Yooka-64 Tonic. This makes the duo look like they were created during the N64 era, and it actually shows. The screen resolution is a little bit worse. They look like Banjo-Kazooie type characters. The models and stuff like that are a little bit less polished and stuff like that. Everything actually looks like an N64 game. Wow! So this tonic was originally specifically for the Impossible Lair, which was released today, and they've decided to add it to the original Yooka-Laylee game. So Playtonic came out on Twitter at Playtonic Games and said, "You asked us to add the Yooka-64 model into Yooka-Laylee, the original, to complement the 64-bit tonic. So we're happy to announce we are working on that and getting that tonic on Xbox One and PS4 finally too." So yeah, we'll see what happens with this. Hopefully this tonic will actually be the real deal. As I said before, the other tonic just didn't look right, and now it appears that they're going to be changing things around. Okay. So the Nintendo Switch is getting an officially licensed Mario Kart racing wheel. You can pre-order it for the UK and Amazon UK right now. I'm not sure about the US. It's supposed to be released on the 3rd of January 2020. The gaming accessory is going to come with the Mario wheel, which is going to be red with the Mario logo in the middle, and it will also have red and black pedals for driving. There's also going to be a deluxe version, which looks like a steering wheel right out of a souped-up car, which has black and red steering wheel with the Mario logo in the middle in black and a red-black control panel on it. And it's going to have suction cups to come with it too, to place it on surfaces so it doesn't move. The other one does not have that. So the racing wheel is going to be adjustable, and it's going to have a reality adjustment as well, and it's going to have a docked mode, and an extra USB accessory will reportedly enable the wheel to be used with the Switch Lite, and the deluxe edition is going to come with a few extra things like suction cups. So it's selling for about, the deluxe one is going to be about $140, and the regular racing wheel is going to be about $75. So if you want to, you can snag that for your Mario Kart needs. All right, so Walmart has broken another street date with the release of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition early. So just like with the Link's Awakening amiibo and the game, the U.S. retail giant Walmart has shipped out The Witcher 3 early. The Switch version was supposed to be out the 15th of October, and it seems that one Reddit user has already gotten his hands on the game from Walmart. He came out on Reddit and said, "Got mine at Walmart in the PACNW today. $49.94. Was stocked on the bottom of the display case with overstock. The rep seemed surprised to see it. The receipt simply shows the game as new NSW game. I'm not sure if that's how Walmart tracks titles in their system, but it seemed rather bland. As previously noted, this upcoming release includes the game box, game card, the Witcher Universe Compendium, a map, and stickers. The game card will also include the 2 expansions, Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine, and all 16 DLC items." So yeah, they've sold Switch Lites early, Amiibos early, and The Legend of Zelda early, and now The Witcher 3 has been put out on shelves early ahead of the release date. So that's, it seems like that was like an accident. Maybe someone saw the Witcher Switch box and didn't know that it was different from the PS4 or Xbox one, which is kind of hard to do. But let's just say that happened, and they put it with the overstock. It's a good find by this guy. I don't think this is a nationwide thing. I don't think this is a big thing, but it's still pretty a big thing to see. Like someone just kind of casually at Walmart looking at the overstocked items that are, down priced and seeing, the Witcher 3 collection for Switch, is that out yet? So yeah, obviously if there is more news about that, it will come up. But for right now, it's only been one case, so I can't say that it's a worldwide reaching thing. All right, so more news about Reggie. Good news, still good news. Reggie has been inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame with a Lifetime Achievement Award. He is now officially a living legend. The former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé, who was replaced by Doug Bowser earlier this year, has received the prestigious Walter Day Lifetime Achievement Award for the International Video Game Hall of Fame. Triforce, who was the first in line at Nintendo's launch events, put forward the nomination and was thanked during Reggie's acceptance video. The former Nintendo president also touched on how he was happy to be receiving a reward in a year when Nintendo was being recognized for its efforts, and also thanked the video game community for the love. The award itself is named after Walter Day, who is the founder of the American video game organization Twin Galaxies. In addition to Reggie's acceptance speech above, the International Video Game Hall of Fame put together a special montage of Reggie's career in the industry, and you can find that on their International Video Game Hall of Fame YouTube channel. Pretty cool to see him getting more awards. Obviously, Reggie was a big part of Nintendo of America, and he still is a big part of the video game world. He's done college stuff, gone to campuses and talked in colleges, and then been a leader in residence, and he's been doing this stuff with charity organizations to help underprivileged kids, and now he's getting awarded for his lifetime achievements. Good on ya, Mike. Okay, so Overwatch's director would like Tracer to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but he says that Sakurai can have whoever he wants in the game if he so desires. So with the Legendary Edition of Overwatch coming to the Switch later this month that does not have crossplay, fans are wondering if any of the heroes are going to be added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Jeff Kaplan, who is the leader and director of Blizzard's insanely popular multiplayer game, jack him off a little bit more, why don't you, Nintendo Life? He recently was asked by IGN who he would like to see represent Overwatch in the Switch exclusive, and gave Masahiro Sakurai and his staff permission to use whatever character they wanted. He is quoted as saying to the Smash Brothers team, "Whatever character you want, we love them all. They're all our babies. You can have any single one of them. We have 31 to choose from. Tracer's our girl, though. Tracer's our mascot. She'd be my first choice. There's a lot of great runners-up. I think a lot of people can immediately see Doomfist gameplay applying to Smash, but if it were up to me, I'd like to see Tracer. Other characters who people wanted to see, like Hanzo and Widowmaker and Nerf this girl could possibly be added as well as, in the game. But right now, people are looking at Tracer as maybe possibly the next Super Smash Bros. Character. Unlikely, but we've seen stranger things in the past, like Banjo-Kazooie make their way. So, yeah, Overwatch still going strong. Not much controversy other than the loot boxes. So we'll see what happens next for the game. Alright, so John Kirby, who is the man who saved Donkey Kong, passes away at age 79. So John J. Kirby Jr., who is the lawyer who successfully defended Nintendo in the legal battle against Universal Studios in the 80s to save the Donkey Kong franchise, passed away sadly at the age of 79. He was a prominent attorney who represented the likes of Pepsi, America Online, and Nintendo. He successfully defended the video game giant from an infringement suit raised by the Universal City Studios, which claimed that Nintendo's arcade title, Donkey Kong, was illegally based on King Kong. It was found that Universal had previously stated that King Kong's story and characters were in the public domain. Donkey Kong went on to be a hugely important milestone for Nintendo's Western ambitions, and the company gave Kirby a sailboat name named Donkey Kong in thanks for his work. The New York Times reports that Kirby enjoyed sailing with his family by his homes in West Hampton Beach. Also, Shigeru Miyamoto revealed previously that his character Kirby was named in John's honor back in the day. No details on how or why he died, but sad news for the video game industry. Obviously, he defended a lot of those companies that early on in the early days. So our condolences, or my condolences, to his friends and family. Okay, so Forever Entertainment has confirmed the House of Dead remakes. Last week I reported that it was possibly maybe coming, House of Dead 1 and 2 coming to the Switch, and now the Polish studio has said that yes, we are working on the House of the Dead and the House of the Dead 2. So they came out on Twitter and said, "Hi guys, we confirm the signing of the agreement regarding remakes of the games House of the Dead 1 and 2. No platforms or release dates have been confirmed, and unfortunately we can't say anything more now. Please keep fingers crossed for us. And follow our official channels." Wow, I spent all that time searching for that just to read that stupid line. So, yeah, it seems like it's been confirmed now. They haven't, decided what platforms they're going to put it on yet. Obviously, I would think that they're going to put it on all systems. But, it's another one of those things that's like, we'll have to wait and see. The Switch is a good place to put it on. The PSVR is a great place to put it on. Not sure about, the Xbox or regular PlayStation 4 consoles, but those two places seem a shoo-in to win. Alright, so Rocket League is officially ditching the loot boxes in favor of a new blueprint system they revealed, and the changes are going to take place in December. So back in August, I reported that Rocket League's developer Sonic is going to scrap randomized loot boxes, which are known in the game as crates. They're going to add a new, more transparent system, and now the studio has revealed that it's going to be, starting in December, replacing the game's crates with a new system called Blueprints, which can be obtained after playing a match, and players will be able to see what item can be created by the blueprint and choose to pay a set price for it should they wish. Essentially, players will now know exactly what they're buying, and in December, that update will be live. Also, it's going to introduce a brand new item shop that will have rotating inventory on new items, legacy crate content, and more. Keys will also be replaced with credits, a new premium currency which Sonic says can be used on creating items from blueprints and obtaining items in the new shop. So, good news. Good news. People will know exactly what they're buying. They'll be able to buy stuff with the in-game currency. Now, the only thing is, are you going to get in-game currency from playing games? Matches? Are you doing better in games? Are you going to get more coins? That hasn't been revealed yet. Maybe it's already a thing. I haven't played Rocket League in a while, so let me know if I'm wrong about that. But so far, I don't think that there has been in-game currency yet. You've just been kind of paying for random loot boxes. But this is a good step in the right direction. Obviously, loot boxes are a point of contention right now, and people are equating it to gambling and stuff like that, and companies are taking steps to eliminate the gambling factor, as best as they can. And it looks like Sonic is leading the way in that. EA is like, but we showed you the rarities, but it's like, but this is actually showing you what exactly you're getting. Back when I was playing Rocket League, you got a new item anyways every match you played, pretty much. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a big thing. I don't know how much has changed, but that seems like a weird thing to happen. All right, Untitled Goose Game. We have a few articles about this. Untitled Goose Game is a huge success, says House, and now they can keep making games as long as they like. With over 100,000 copies sold, Untitled Goose Game is a new indie hit on the market. That's a pretty good number because it was released on the same day as Link's Awakening on the Switch. So developer House has been humbly sharing its gratitude towards players on social media, and in an interview with ABC, the game's co-creator Nico Disseldorp has hinted towards just how great the game's release has been for the team. ABC's report notes that Disseldorp was reluctant to reveal how many downloads their new game has had. He says it exceeds over 100,000. So if we had to guess, we'd say the total is quickly rising well beyond that. In an industry full of studio closures and tough breaks for people like AlphaDream and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So Disseldorp also said, we can go on and keep making video games for as long as we like now. I'm not sure as long as you like, but you can at least make another game. So House came out on Twitter. They're at House_House_. They said, the last couple of days have been overwhelming and incredible. It is a very strange feeling waking up yesterday to see our game at number 1 in Australia on Nintendo's charts. A deep and sincere thanks to anyone who has played and enjoyed the Untitled Goose Game. So what's next for House? Well, in the next news article, it will Goose. Untitled Goose Game is going to honk its way on the PS4 and the Xbox eventually. So of course, everyone's hoping to see Untitled Goose Game on these other platforms. It's already been released on Epic Game Store and the Switch, but people are wondering when it's going to come to the PlayStation and the Xbox. So House came out in the same interview with ABC News and said that the development team is hoping to bring Untitled Goose Game to Sony's system and Xbox before moving on to its next project. A release window hasn't been stated, but it's probably going to hit the PS4 in the early 2020s at this point. So we'll see if this Goose is going to come to other systems in the near future. Also, they revealed what the original name for Untitled Goose Game was supposed to be. And he came out and said during an interview with BBC, I think the Goose character allows people to be the source of mischief that lots of people desire being in video games. No matter what the game is, you find a certain kind of player will look for ways of making mischief. They may even ignore the story that's been laid out for them and go on to the possibility of something more mischievous instead. In this game, you're told to go in there and make as big of a mess as possible. We knew from the beginning that we wanted the player to progress through this village. We knew the kinds of movements and characters we wanted to have. When we got people to our office, we started timing how long it took them to play, and they seemed to take about 4 hours on average. It seems now that the game is out, some people are playing it faster than that, but when it comes to the games that we play, we don't really worry if it's short or long. I think it's really nice that people can play at the end of this thing without spending their life on it. Right now, we're looking at the next patch for the game to fix a few bugs. It's taken everything we've had just to get to this point. So we haven't been in the background counting our pennies just yet. He came out and said Untitled Goose Game's original name was supposed to be Some Like It Honk. He says it wasn't viable. What a dumb name. Okay, I'm glad they used Untitled Goose Game. Some Like It Honk. Not sure what that's supposed to mean. But yeah, that's all the Untitled Goose Game info for today. Tune in next week for our next segment of Untitled Goose Game. What's new? Anyways, let's move on. So Sony has announced the release dates for a few upcoming PSVR games. One of them is called Bonfire, which is going to be an interactive sci-fi adventure starring comedian Ali Wong. You're going to crash your spaceship in an alien jungle and have a wary robot sidekick. And you'll have to navigate through an immersive world with an animated movie-like space survival story that has trust and friendship and whatever decisions matter. That's going to be released on the 22nd of October. Audacica, which is the Harmonix game for the VR, which they've done games like Rock Band and Amplitude. It's like Beat Saber with guns, and it's going to be released on the 5th of November 2019. Paper Beast, which is from the creator Another World, Eric Chaishay. It's been marked down for an early 2020 release. Not much known about that game yet. And also Pixel Ripped 1995, which is a follow-up to last year's Pixel Ripped 1989, is going to be coming out in spring of 2020. And finally, the Room VR, the Dark Matter, no, not the Tommy Wiseau room, has been announced for spring 2020 as well. It's a puzzle-solving game with different rooms to go into, kind of like Saw, but not with death involved. Alright, so if you didn't notice, Facebook functionality has been down on the PS4 for about a couple of days now, and Sony has come out and said that Facebook has come out and said that if Sony agrees to an updated contract, they'll bring it back to the platform, so it might not be gone for too long. So its removal from PlayStation meant that you can't share videos, screenshots, or broadcast links to social network sites, to Facebook, just automatically. It had that integration, but now it does not. Even though it's not clear why, this talk fell down. Facebook said that it's only temporary. According to a statement from Facebook's spokesperson, which was issued by Kotaku, the two companies are currently renegotiating the deal. We're working with Sony to finalize an updated contract designed to improve the Facebook integration on PlayStation. While these discussions are in progress, Facebook features will not be available on PlayStation 4. We hope to bring these features back as soon as our teams reach an agreement. So it'll be interesting to see if there's actually any changes to the functionality of the Facebook apps and stuff like that. Maybe they're just making way for the PS5 in the future. They're adding some new things. Who knows? Right now, I used to have it set up to post trophies and stuff like that, but I haven't used it in so long. But we'll see what new things come, and we'll see what the updated contract says. Give us all the information for your players. Signed! No, please don't. Alright, so Marvel's Avengers, the video game, is adding a 6th playable character named Kamala Khan, who is Ms. Marvel, the stretching Wonder Woman. So, Marvel's Avengers has not been getting a lot of good press since its reveal at E3, but the project has started to look a lot more interesting in recent months. Kamala Khan has been unveiled, and it's kind of neat that Ms. Marvel is going to be an official playable character, which is the 6th character among the Avengers. So they came out in a statement and said, telling our story of Kamala's coming of age brings a fresh, hopeful perspective to the gameplay experience, and her unique abilities as Ms. Marvel make her a character every person will want to play. Creative director Sean Skagg said on PlayStation Blog, Kamala Khan is the defining ingredient that makes our game stand apart from any Avenger story you've experienced before. So there's a new trailer on Marvel Entertainment's New York City Comic-Con announcement trailer on their YouTube channel, and also a behind-the-scenes video has been released as well. This is a good addition. Everyone was kind of wondering if there was going to be more Avengers, and it looks like, yes, there definitely will be. Kamala Khan isn't a popular character by my standards, but she's a good character, and I'm interested to see how they're going to make her fighting style in this game. Maybe it'll be like playing as Clayface in DC games? Who knows? Alright, so Marvel's Iron Man VR has been, the release date has been revealed at New York Comic Con, and there's also a new story trailer on PlayStation's YouTube channel. So Sony officially outlined Marvel's Iron Man VR's roster of purchase options. The standard release is going to cost about $40, and if you pre-order from participating retailers, you're going to get 4 custom armor suits and a dynamic PS4 theme. If you go for the $50 deluxe option, which is available at the PlayStation Store, you're going to grab the 4 armor styles, 12 research points, which allow you to unlock some upgrades early in Iron Man, and a digital soundtrack and an exclusive theme. Pre-order from the PlayStation Store, and you'll also unlock a month trial to Marvel Unlimited. So it's going to launch on the PlayStation VR on the 28th of February, and Marvel announced this at Comic-Con earlier this week. That's just a week after The Last of Us Part 2, so that's 2 exclusives within 7 days. That's pretty good. They also showed off the new trailer for the title, which showed off Ghost from Ant-Man and Wasp, and he's going to be able to hack your headset, which will result in some super cool effects and some cool gameplay mechanics. So February 28th, mark your calendars. Alright, we got some Bloodborne news. The Bloodborne community has organized its own Halloween event starting last Thursday. So, if you don't remember, Bloodborne was a From Software game specifically made for Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation. and it was my favorite game when it came out in 2015, and it still is a very, very good game. I played through it again last year. It was still just such a great experience. And so the Bloodborne community on Reddit is feeling a little bit left out this holiday season because there really hasn't been anything brought to the game recently. So they want something to happen too, so they're going to have to make it themselves. So, dubbed Return to Yharnam, the celebration kicks off tomorrow and asks participants to create a new character and invade or summon as many hunters as possible. Recognizing each other via a specific costume worn in-game, the month-long event will change and develop as it progresses with community voting used to determine the next set of rules or armor to be worn next. With the main post currently sitting at over 2,000 upvotes, it seems this event is going to be pretty big among the Bloodborne community still playing the game. So it looks like it's just going to be a PvP event where you wear a specific drab. That's what I meant to say, drab. And we'll see, what comes of this. It's interesting to see the community still doing things for Bloodborne. Of course, it's still a pretty popular game. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next in the Bloodborne universe, and I'm going to go back and probably replay Bloodborne again before the PS5 comes out. And finally for today, it's been another long one, but thank you for sticking around with me, guys. Resident Evil is bringing horror to Monster Hunter World Iceborne in November. So, in a new post by Monster Hunter's YouTube channel, they showed off Capcom's Resident Evil coming to Monster Hunter World Iceborne in November. So, not only are we going to get a Leon and Claire skin, but you'll also be able to dress the handler as Mr. X. There's also going to be some new zombie emotes to be used during battle, and although there's no concrete details yet, there is a release date of November, which is after Halloween, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so this might be one of the weirdest crossovers yet, but hey, whatever. It also seems like there's different designs for zombies from like Resident Evil 5 and 4 and 1 and 2 and stuff like that, so it'll be interesting to see how this kind of comes about later this year. Okay, well, The Walking Dead final season has officially finished downloading on my computer, so that's good news, and I'm hoping to be playing through that soon. Guys, remember, if you want to check out Foobar Ferret, it is officially audio exclusive on Anchor.fm. Just type in Foobar Ferret, link is down in the description below. I really appreciate anyone who listens to that and gives me feedback on that. It's just a random show for random things. This episode of YemmyCast was a pleasure doing for you guys. Thank you so much for being here for the premiere. If you're here for the premiere on Wednesday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, thank you so much. It's available on all other platforms the same day, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening on whatever platform you are currently listening on. That's it for this episode. As I said before, or maybe I didn't say, I'm planning on maybe not doing as many Sunday episodes anymore. I just haven't been having as many ideas for them as before. If there's big news on the weekend, of course, I'll do a quick episode, but I'm not planning on doing anything like super spectacular for the weekend episodes anymore. They do get a little bit less listenership, especially on YouTube. So I don't know if investing time on Saturday to work on that is a feasible option, but if something comes up, of course, I will do a weekend episode. As for now, probably not going to be a weekend episode this weekend. So stick with me, guys. We're doing a lot more stuff on the channel. It's been really awesome and interesting to kind of grow the channel through these last few weeks. So we'll see where it goes. A live stream on Saturday, starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be finishing off Medal of Honor Frontline, and we might possibly start 007 Nightfire the same day. Or maybe maybe we'll do The Walking Dead. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that pre-recorded or on live stream. There's a few chapters to do, and it's a long game to get through, so we shall see. All right, thank you so much for watching. Once again, I am your host, Yemmy the Ferret, and this has been YemmyCast, a video game podcast.